Hi, I'm Matt Slaughter, Dean of the Tuck School of Business here at Dartmouth. I want to welcome all of you to this inaugural DEI Summit and to thank the student organizers who've orchestrated this exciting event. The goal of this summit is to help you reflect on how you can advance diversity, equity, and inclusion in your personal life, in your professional life, and in the organizations that you're going to lead. For me, advancing diversity, I think about that as a teacher, as an economist, and as Dean of the Tuck School. As a teacher, advancing diversity means convening conversations long overdue, sometimes difficult, but ultimately very rich on the issues of systemic racism, gender inequality, and other issues of diversity and exclusion that our world faces. It's important that in our classrooms and in our co-curricular spaces like this conference, we can engage on these issues in a trusting way. As an economist, I've long researched issues of diversity at a global level, importantly focusing on high talent immigration and the many benefits that recipient countries and communities gain in terms of innovation, job creation, wage growth that comes from high talent individuals coming into their countries. When I look at leading organizations, some of the largest firms of the world, successful though they are, still have a long way to go in diversity. Look at the Fortune 500 companies today, only 3 of them have Black CEOs, all of them males. There's an ample amount of research that shows diverse organizations are more productive, make smarter decisions, and have more engaged stakeholders. And yet as Dean, what's most important to me is advancing diversity, not in terms of the business case I just mentioned, but in terms of its moral imperative. Our world today is still plagued with systemic racism, gender discrimination, and too many structures that impede people's ability to flourish, not just in work, but as human beings. Our mission at the Tuck School is to develop wise, decisive leaders who better the world through business. Wise leaders build diverse organizations that empower every one of their members. Wise leaders empower people and raise them up by taking barriers down. And it's that same wise spirit that animates this exciting DEI Summit. Every best wish for a lot of good conversations. I look forward to learning from what you find, and thanks very much for joining the event.
When I was announced as the next dean of the Wharton School, the media attention surrounding my appointment was pervasive. Every headline included something like, Erica James, the first woman and person of color, ... Although true, the significance of my appointment was diminished to characteristics that were outside of my control. My being born Black and female was happenstance, and it felt as if the work that I had put into my career up to that point was undermined by the circumstances of my birth. The headlines gave the impression to some that I was appointed dean because I was Black and female, not in spite of or irrespective to it. To be clear, I'm exceedingly proud of my African American roots and to be a woman. Yet in this country's nearly 250-year history, that we still laud people because they are the first of their race or gender to achieve something is testament to what must be overcome to be recognized as equally able as those born into the demographic groups that have defined our country throughout its history. That it is still so difficult for some to be recognized for what they have worked to achieve means that there are still far too many people whose capabilities and talents go unrecognized. Business schools are designed to be places where talent is unleashed. As a dean, I feel deeply responsible for ensuring that we recognize the actual skill and effort that it takes to be at a place like Wharton or Kellogg or Michigan or Harvard or Dartmouth, and that I do everything possible to ensure that we help to augment those skills so students leave these schools as more equipped and capable leaders than when they came. As dean, I strive to create conditions that allow all students to achieve their maximum potential. And to do so means that we recognize all that you bring to the table, regardless of your gender, race, sexual identity, or physical ability. I recognize that your individual journey is precisely what allows you to add unique perspective to the solutions for the problems we are trying to solve in business and in society. To me, diversity, equity, and inclusion is both a commitment and a consequence. I commit to fostering an environment that represents people of varied demographic groups and to ensuring that our practices and decision-making are fair and equitable so that everyone has the opportunity to thrive. The consequence for doing so means that Wharton contributes to the pipeline of talented and confident students that will lead the companies, communities, and economies of the future. There's nothing else I'd rather do.
Hello, I'm Srikant Datar, Dean of Harvard Business School. The mission of Harvard Business School is to educate leaders who make a difference in the world. For many years, we have understood that realizing our mission requires a diverse student body. The very way we teach is predicated on the idea that students learn at least as much from each other as they do from the school's faculty. Therefore, we have always strived to enroll a class that is diverse on many dimensions. We also recognize that realizing our mission requires preparing students to serve highly diverse organizations and societies. Successful leaders will need to be skilled at managing across differences and leveraging diversity to lead innovation. Put simply, business leaders must be skilled at turning human differences into sources of creativity and imagination. Personally, I see this as a challenge, but also an incredible opportunity, and one where business can play a powerful role. I am eager to explore how I can bring my passion for design thinking, which emphasizes empathy, walking in others' shoes, and seeing the world through others' eyes, to the challenges of diversity, equity, and inclusion. We will need to adopt an action orientation. We will need to develop new frameworks, new partnerships, and new approaches. I'm also committed to diversity, equity, and inclusion because I believe that every person should be the best that they can be so that they can realize their fullest potential. The devotion to this task inspires me each day. I wish you a wonderful summit. I hope it will fill you with purpose and a deep desire to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion throughout your careers. Thank you for inviting me to say a few words. Thank you for the work you are doing and will do. Good luck and all the very best.
I'm so happy to welcome you all to this DEI Summit. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is something that is very important to Kellogg, and it's very important to me personally. I grew up in northern Italy in a very homogeneous community. And then I arrived in the US for my PhD. And this is where I discovered that assumptions I made about people, how things should be done, or what I should embrace, were actually not shared by others. Maybe they were the wrong assumption. And sometimes people held the wrong assumption about me, what I stood for, because they didn't understand where I was coming from. And that what made me understand how important it is to embrace people's differences, to celebrate their potential. And that's why I love the culture of Kellogg. Because at Kellogg, we know this is no time for incremental change. This is the time to go back to the drawing board and think, what do we want? How can we maximize everybody's potential? How can we impact the real world? And the only way to really maximize such impact is to bring together people who can be their true self, they can express their true self. This is the power of any organization and community. It's in the diversity of people and it embracing and understanding those diversity. So thank you all, and let's work together.
Hello, I'm Scott Beardsley, the Dean of the University of Virginia Darden School of Business, and I'm delighted to have the opportunity to welcome you to the virtual summit. I can't tell you how inspiring and hopeful it is to see a multi-school, student-led event such as this take off. You, the leaders of tomorrow, know and believe what many have been slow to comprehend. Prioritizing diversity, equity, and inclusion is both a moral imperative and an imperative for excellence and leading effectively in today's world. Like many global organizations, Darden put renewed emphasis on DEI issues in 2020. A diverse and inclusive community is one of our core values, and we have committed to a series of immediate actions and are laying the groundwork for sustainable and effective longer-term action in the space. As someone who has worked in over 30 countries, lived abroad for almost half my life, came to Darden from Belgium, and as a multicultural family that speaks another language at home, I know that business is global. DEI in that context means ensuring that the vibrant dimensions of diversity that are present in our world feel they belong and are welcome, and leveraged in each organization. I was attracted to Darden because it is a place where anyone from anywhere can learn to reach their full potential and go anywhere. We know that committing to change and growth is the easy part. Real change takes work, but we are committed to it and are making strong progress. By including and learning from students, faculty, and alumni from all walks of life, our community reflects and prepares its members for the global business world in which they seek to lead. I want to thank the organizers at Darden and beyond for inviting me to say a few words. And thank you sincerely for your leadership on this issue.
Hello, I'm Scott DeRue, and I have the privilege of serving as Dean of the Ross School of Business at the University of Michigan. And I am thrilled to see everyone coming together for this conference at this moment around a set of DEI topics and issues that are defining for our generation. Let's just make sure that we all do our part to ensure that this moment sustains as a movement that creates real and lasting change in business and society. My personal belief is that business is one of the most powerful forces on the planet for creating positive change, positive impact. In fact, there is no challenge that we face today as a global society that can be solved without business coming to the table with creative solutions that scale and sustain impact. And yet business only realizes this promise if it can be a wellspring of creative ideas and solutions to the world's most pressing challenges. And what's at the heart of that creativity? Well, it's very simple. Without diversity, without inclusion, there is no creativity. We need diverse perspectives from different backgrounds coming together. We need inclusive organizations where those diverse voices are not only present, but those diverse voices are respected, they are nourished, they are encouraged. In my mind, diversity, equity, and inclusion are not only socially just, but diversity, equity, and inclusion are also essential to our ability as business leaders to build and sustain a better world for the generations that come after us, which in my opinion is the greatest gift we can offer to the world. So thank you for coming together as a diverse community to build that better world, to share your diverse perspectives, and to role model an inclusive organization. It is our shared responsibility and our greatest opportunity. Thank you.